Commander Jun Park stood at the observation window of the United Earth Defense Station, watching the massive alien ship that had appeared 3 days ago. The vessel hung in space like a shining metal leaf, its surface glowing with soft blue lights. Nothing in human history had prepared them for this moment. "Sir, the alien representatives are requesting permission to come aboard," said Lieutenant Han, her voice steady despite the tension in the room. Jun nodded. "Prepare the conference room. Make sure all security protocols are in place, but keep weapons hidden. We don't want to appear hostile." The world had been in chaos since the alien ship appeared. Stock markets crashed. Religious leaders claimed it was the end times. Military forces around the globe went on high alert. But after the initial panic, the aliens had sent a simple message in perfect English. "We come in peace. We are the Federation." 6 hours later, Jum stood beside General Song and 3 other military and civilian leaders as the airlock door opened. The alien delegation stepped through. 3 tall, slender beings with pale blue skin that seemed to shimmer under the lights. Their eyes were large and golden, with no visible pupils. They wore simple robes of a material that moved like liquid metal. The leader stepped forward. "I am Neri of the Federation. We greet Earth with peace and friendship." Its voice was melodic, almost musical. General Song stepped forward. "Welcome to Earth. I am General Song, and this is Commander Park, who will be your primary contact during your visit." The following days were a whirlwind of meetings and revelations. The Federation, they learned, included 18 different species across 12 star systems. They had achieved interstellar travel centuries ago and had been observing Earth from a distance, waiting until humans reached a certain technological threshold before making contact. What surprised the aliens most was human history. "You fought 6 global conflicts in the past 300 years, asked Nari during their 3rd meeting. The alien seemed genuinely puzzled. "World War I alone killed over 60 million people," explained Dr. Min, the historian on the human team. "It led to the development of atomic weapons." The 3 Federation representatives exchanged glances. Their skin changed color slightly, darkening to a deeper blue. "In our combined histories, no Federation species has ever had a war that engulfed their entire planet," said Tavi, the 2nd alien. "And none developed weapons of mass destruction before achieving space travel." Jun noticed the subtle shift in the room's atmosphere. The aliens were not just surprised, they were disturbed. Later that evening, Jun met with General Song in the station's secure room. "They're afraid of us," Jun said. "Did you see their reaction when Dr. Min showed the World War I footage?" General Song nodded. "They evolved differently. The Federation species developed through cooperation, not competition. Their planets had fewer natural predators, more stable climates." "So where does that leave us?" Jun asked. "In an interesting position," the general replied. "They have technology far beyond ours, but they may fear our capacity for violence." The next day, Nari presented an official invitation. The Federation Council wishes to extend membership to Earth on a probationary status. "Probationary?" asked President Lee, who had joined the talks via secure video link. "Standard procedure for new species," explained Nari, though Jun detected hesitation in the alien's voice. "You would send representatives to the Federation Council for a period of assessment." What went unsaid was clear. The Federation was unsure about humans. The world's governments debated the offer for weeks. Some saw tremendous opportunity in joining an advanced galactic community. Others feared a trap or loss of independence. In the end, the United Earth Council voted to accept with certain conditions. Jun was selected to lead the human delegation, a team of 12 specialists, including scientists, diplomats, and military personnel. Lieutenant Han would serve as his second in command. The night before their departure, Jun sat alone in his quarters, reading the personal profiles of the Federation species one more time. Each had evolved in environments that fostered cooperation. None had Earth's history of constant warfare. A soft knock interrupted his thoughts. Lieutenant Han entered with a data tablet. Sir, I've been analyzing the Federation's defensive capabilities based on what they've shown us, she said. Their ships have incredible technology, but their tactical systems are basic. Basic how? June asked. They're entirely defensive. Force fields, evasive systems, but minimal offensive capabilities. Their military doctrine seems built around protection, not aggression. June considered this. A species that never faced serious threats wouldn't develop the same military thinking we have. Exactly, Han replied. They've never needed to think like predators. The next morning, Earth's first interstellar delegation prepared to board the Federation vessel. News cameras broadcasted the event worldwide as June and his team stood before the sleek alien ship. Nari greeted them at the airlock. The journey to Federation space will take 14 Earth days. We hope you will find the accommodations comfortable. As they entered the ship, Jun noticed small details: the lack of secure areas, the absence of weapons, the open architecture that prioritized beauty over defensibility. Everything confirmed what Han had observed. Just before the doors closed, June looked back at Earth, blue and peaceful from space. Humans had fought countless wars over that small planet. They had developed weapons that could destroy all life several times over. They had emerged from their evolutionary crucible as both builders and destroyers. And now they were joining a galactic community that had never known such violence. As the Federation ship pulled away from Earth, Jun wondered if the aliens truly understood what they had invited into their peaceful coalition. Humans were coming to the stars, bringing with them everything that made them uniquely dangerous and uniquely adaptable. The Federation would never be the same again. The Federation headquarters orbited a gas giant with rings that shimmered like diamonds. From the observation deck, June Park watched as their transport ship approached the massive space station. It looked like a giant metal flower with 20 petal-shaped sections extending from a central hub. Each petal represented a different member species of the Federation. "It's beautiful," Lieutenant Han said beside him. "I never imagined anything this large could be built in space." "The Federation has had centuries more technological development than us," June replied. "This is just the beginning of what we'll see." Their human delegation had spent 2 weeks aboard the Federation vessel. During that time, they noticed how the alien crew watched them, with curiosity but also caution. Conversations would sometimes stop when humans entered a room. Questions about Earth often focused on wars and weapons. As they docked with the station, Federation officials waited to greet them. A tall, four-armed being with scaled skin stepped forward. "Welcome to Unity Station. I am Director Taro of Diplomatic Relations. Your quarters are prepared in the Earth section." The Earth section turned out to be in the newest, smallest petal of the station. As they toured the area, Jun noticed security barriers that didn't exist in other sections. Their movements were subtly restricted. "We're being quarantined," Dr. Su whispered to June after the 3rd day. Dr. Su was their xenobiologist, an expert in alien biology and cultures. "Have you noticed how the other species keep their distance? How the Alteri parents pull their children away when we pass?" June had noticed. "They fear what they don't understand. We need to show them humans are more than our capacity for violence." Their first Federation Council meeting came a week later. The circular chamber held representatives from all 18 member species. Humans were given observer status, with seats at the back of the room. Council leader Mira, a tall humanoid with silvery skin and eyes that reflected light like mirrors, began the session. "Today we welcome Earth's representatives and continue discussions on the Krellinor border situation." Images appeared in the center of the room, holographic displays of ships with aggressive angular designs. "The Krellinor have increased patrols along their border with Federation space," reported Security Director Lani. "They claim to be protecting trade routes, but their ships have weapons armed." "Have they made any threats?" asked a reptilian counselor. "Not directly, but they've ignored communication attempts and scanned our outposts with targeting systems." June leaned forward, listening carefully. The Krellinor weren't Federation members. From the discussion, he gathered they were a species that had declined membership and instead formed their own small empire on the Federation's borders. The debate continued for hours. The Federation's response was entirely defensive, reinforcing shields on outposts, increasing sensor range, sending diplomatic messages requesting talks. That evening, Jum discussed the meeting with his team. "They have no concept of deterrence," said Major Yu, their military strategist. "Their entire security doctrine is reactive, not proactive." Different evolutionary history, Dr. Su reminded them. Most Federation species evolved in environments where cooperation was more beneficial than competition. They never developed the same aggressive instincts humans did. 3 days later, alarms blared throughout the station. Jun and his team rushed to their communications center to find emergency messages flooding in. A Federation research outpost had been attacked by Krellinor forces. 3,000 scientists and their families were dead. The Council called an emergency session. Holographic images showed the destroyed outpost, buildings burning, bodies floating in space. The Federation representatives were in shock. Many were weeping openly. "We must increase defenses at all border facilities," Council leader Mira said, her voice shaking. Major Yu leaned over to Jun. "That's their solution. More shields." Jun raised his hand, an action that seemed to surprise the Council. Leader Mira nodded reluctantly. "The Earth Observer may speak." "With respect," Jun said, standing, "a purely defensive response will only invite further attacks. The Krellinor need to understand there are consequences for this action." The chamber fell silent. A blue-skinned counselor spoke up. "What exactly are you suggesting?" "A targeted operation to demonstrate strength. Not full-scale war, but a clear message that attacking Federation citizens has a price." Murmurs filled the room. Some outrage, others curious. "We do not seek conflict," Leader Mira said firmly. "The Federation was founded on principles of peace." "Peace requires strength to maintain," Jun replied. "My species learned this through painful experience." The Council dismissed the human suggestion and voted to increase defensive measures and send another diplomatic message to the Krellinor. 2 days later, the Krellinor attacked again, this time a transport vessel carrying civilians. 500 dead. That evening, Security Director Lunny came to the human quarters. The tall, feline alien looked exhausted. "Commander Park, may we speak privately?" In Jum's office, the director sat heavily in a chair. "The Council is paralyzed. We have never faced an enemy that ignores diplomatic outreach and continues attacks despite our defenses. The Krellinor see your restraint as weakness," Jun said gently. "Yes, I'm beginning to understand that." Director Laney looked at Jun with large amber eyes. "Your species understands conflict in ways we never learned. The Council won't officially request it, but I need your help." "What are you asking?" "Major Yu's expertise. Lieutenant Han's tactical knowledge. We need humans to help us think in ways we cannot." The next morning, a small team of humans and Federation security officers met in a secure room. Major Yu stood before tactical displays showing Krellinor ship movements. "They expect you to be predictable," Yu explained. "They know you'll defend, but not attack. That gives them complete initiative." "What would humans do?" asked a Federation officer. Yu smiled grimly. "We changed the rules of the game." As they developed plans, Jun watched the Federation officers' reactions. At first, they were shocked by human battle tactics, the willingness to sacrifice resources for strategic advantage, the concepts of feints and traps, the psychological aspects of warfare. "This is how you think?" asked a stunned Federation tactical officer after Yu explained a particular maneuver. "This is how predators think," Dr. Su said quietly, "and humans evolved as both predator and prey." While they worked, news arrived of another Krellinor attack, larger, bolder, striking deeper into Federation territory. The Council finally authorized a response operation. The battle plan that emerged was unlike anything in Federation history. It carried Major Yu's distinctive touch, but had been adapted to use Federation technology in ways its creators had never imagined. As the Federation ships moved into position, Jum stood in the command center with Director Lanny. The Krellinor were about to learn why humans had survived on a planet of predators, and the Federation was about to discover just how valuable and frightening their new human allies could be. And the Federation was about to discover just how valuable and frightening their new human allies could be. Major Yu stood before the mixed crew of Federation officers and human specialists on the command deck of the Federation vessel Dawn Seeker. The ship's curved walls displayed tactical information in swirling patterns of light that the humans were still learning to interpret. The Krellinor expect you to respond with increased shields and defensive positions, Yu explained, pointing to the holographic display of the border system. They've never faced an opponent who strikes first. Captain Taro, the Federation officer in command of the mission, shifted uncomfortably. Preemptive strikes go against Federation military doctrine, which is exactly why it will work, Lieutenant Han added. The Krellinor have studied your patterns. They don't know ours. The plan was bold by Federation standards. The Dawn Seeker would appear to be a damaged research vessel drifting near the border. When the Krellinor approached to investigate or attack, 3 smaller Federation ships hiding in the electromagnetic shadow of a nearby moon would launch a surprise attack. As the Federation crew prepared, Jum observed their reactions. The aliens were skilled and intelligent, but they approached combat as an unfortunate necessity rather than a discipline to be mastered. Humans had been perfecting the art of war for thousands of years. I've been studying your species' military history, said Officer Mena, a slender blue-skinned alien with 4 arms who served as the ship's tactical officer. Your World War II involved strategies that never occurred to any Federation species. Necessity breeds innovation, Jun replied. Earth is a dangerous planet. We evolved alongside predators and had to outthink them to survive. But you became the greatest predators on your world, Minna said quietly. Jun nodded. That's what the Federation fears about us, isn't it? Mina's skin darkened slightly, a sign of emotional response. The Council debates this often. Your species developed nuclear weapons before achieving unity on your own planet. You designed weapons specifically to kill your own kind. And yet here we are, helping defend your people, Jun said. The same capacity that makes us dangerous also makes us effective protectors. The operation began 12 hours later. The Dawn Seeker drifted into position, broadcasting fake damage reports. Its engines were running at minimal power, shields lowered to appear vulnerable. In the command center, Major Yu watched the sensors closely. Remember, when they approach, don't react immediately. Let them think they have the advantage. Captain Taro nodded tensely. The Federation crew was nervous. This type of deception felt wrong to them. Their military training emphasized honorable combat and clear declarations of intent. The sensors registered movement. 2 Krellinor ships approaching rapidly. They've taken the bait, Han said. They're scanning us with weapons systems. Hold position. You reminded everyone. Let them get closer. The minutes stretched painfully. The Krellinor ships moved into attack range, their angular black hulls designed to project menace. They're charging weapons, Officer Minna reported, her voice tight. Now, you ordered. The Dawn Seeker's systems surged to life. Shields snapped on at full power. Hidden weapons ports opened along the hull. Simultaneously, the 3 Federation ships emerged from hiding, catching the Krellinor in a perfect crossfire. The battle lasted less than 15 minutes. 1 Krellinor ship was disabled, the other retreated with significant damage. The Federation suffered only minor damage to 1 vessel. As they secured the disabled Krellinor ship, Dr. Su joined Jun on the observation deck. The Federation scientists are analyzing our battle tactics, she said. They're both impressed and disturbed. How so? The concept of a feint, presenting false weakness to draw in an enemy never developed in their military thinking. They're calling it the human approach now. The ship returned to Unity Station with the captured Krellinor vessel. The Federation Council called an emergency session, where Captain Taro presented the mission results. The council chambers were filled with mixed reactions: relief at the victory, concern about the tactics used. The operation was successful, Captain Taro reported. No Federation lives were lost, and we've acquired valuable intelligence about Krellinor technology. Council leader Mira spoke carefully. We appreciate the assistance of our Earth allies, but some council members have expressed concern about the nature of the tactics employed. Major Yu stepped forward. With respect, Leader Mira, the Krellinor understand only strength. They targeted civilian installations because they believed you wouldn't respond effectively. And now, asked a reptilian counselor. Now they know attacking Federation citizens has consequences. After the session, Federation scientists requested permission to interview the human team about military theory. In a large laboratory space, Dr. Su and Major Yu found themselves surrounded by curious Federation researchers. Is it true humans developed over 40 different martial arts just for unarmed combat between individuals? Asked one researcher. Yes, Dr. Su confirmed. Our physical limitations compared to many predators on Earth forced us to develop technique and strategy to compensate. Your species was not the strongest or fastest on your planet. Another scientist noted, yet you became dominant. Because we learned to outthink our opponents, you explained. We turned our weaknesses into strengths. The Federation scientists were particularly fascinated by the concept of psychological warfare, using fear and uncertainty as weapons. The Dawn Seeker operation succeeded not just because of the ambush, you explained, but because it shattered the Krellinor's perception of how Federation forces behave. Now they must reassess everything they thought they knew. As the discussions continued, an emergency alert sounded. The Krellinor had launched a major offensive, striking 3 Federation systems simultaneously. Their forces were larger and more aggressive than anything the Federation had previously encountered. The Council convened again, this time with the human delegation invited to sit at the main table. A significant symbolic change. We need your expertise, Council leader Mira admitted, setting aside diplomatic niceties. The Krellinor are advancing on major population centers. Our defensive systems cannot hold them back alone. Jun looked at his team, then back to the Council. We'll help you, but we need to do this properly. Half measures won't work against an enemy like this. What do you propose? Leader Mira asked. A joint command structure, Federation ships with human tactical advisors, and permission to implement full human battle doctrine. The Council chamber fell silent. What Jun proposed was unprecedented, allowing humans significant influence over Federation military operations. Finally, Leader Mira nodded. Approved. May the wisdom of both our peoples guide us. As the meeting ended, Dr. Su caught up with Jun in the corridor. You realize what's happening? She asked quietly. They're afraid of us, but now they need us. That's a dangerous position. It's also an opportunity, Jun replied, to show them that humans can be fierce in defense of the innocent, that our capacity for violence exists alongside our capacity for protection. Within hours, the first joint Human Federation battle group departed Unity Station. The greatest test of this unusual alliance was about to begin, and the galaxy would never be the same afterward. The Federation Grand Hall shimmered with light from a dozen worlds, its massive crystal ceiling reflecting the combined colors of 3 suns. In the center stood a circular table where Federation Council members sat alongside representatives of the Krellinor Empire. 5 years ago, such a scene would have been unimaginable. Jun Park, now serving as Earth's official ambassador to the Federation, stood to address the gathering. His uniform bore the combined insignia of Earth and the Federation, a symbol of the new order that had emerged after the war. Today marks 5 years since the signing of the peace accords. Jun began. 5 years since beings who once sought to destroy each other chose a different path. He glanced at the Krellinor delegates. Their gray, ridged faces remained stern, but they nodded respectfully. The Krellinor had proven to be proud warriors who respected strength. They had expected to crush the peaceful Federation easily, until they encountered humans. The war changed us all, Jun continued. The Federation learned that sometimes strength must be shown to maintain peace. The Krellinor learned that true power comes not just from conquest, but from cooperation. And we humans learned that our greatest contribution to the galaxy might not be our technology or resources, but our unique perspective. After the decisive battle at Proxima Station, where Major Yu's tactics had trapped and defeated the main Krellinor fleet, the war had ended not with destruction but with negotiation. Jun himself had led the peace talks, understanding both the need for firmness and the importance of allowing the Krellinor to maintain their pride. When the formal speeches ended, Jun walked through the reception hall where beings from 20 species mingled. He spotted Dr. Su deep in conversation with a Federation scientist and a Krellinor biologist, an alliance that would have seemed impossible before. Ambassador Park called a familiar voice. Admiral Taro approached, his blue skin now marked with the silver patterns of high rank. The Joint Defense Council meeting is tomorrow. Will you be attending? Wouldn't miss it, Jun replied. I hear Major Yu, General Yu now, has some new training programs to propose. Admiral Taro's expression showed both respect and lingering concern. Her methods are intense. Some Federation officers find the combat simulations disturbing, but effective, Jun noted. The joint training program has created the most efficient defense force in Federation history. True enough, Taro admitted, though I sometimes wonder if we're becoming more like humans in the process. And we're becoming more like you, Jun replied. That's how alliances work. Across the room, Jun noticed a small commotion. A group of children, a mix of species including 2 human kids from the New Earth colony, were playing some sort of game under the watchful eyes of their parents. The sight would have been unthinkable when humans first arrived in Federation space. Later that evening, Jun met with Council Leader Mira in her private chambers. The years had added silver streaks to her already luminous skin, but her eyes remained sharp and perceptive. The Federation has changed greatly since your species joined us, she said, pouring a drink for each of them. Not all changes were comfortable, but most were necessary. Evolution never is comfortable, Jun replied, accepting the glass. But it ensures survival. Some council members still fear human influence, Mira admitted. They worry we are becoming more militaristic, more predatory in our thinking. And others point to the new medical techniques Dr. Su adapted from human emergency medicine that have saved thousands of lives, or the crisis management systems developed from your disaster response protocols. Mira took a sip of her drink. Your species brings both the sword and the shield. Jun nodded. That's what humans have always been, creators and destroyers. The balance between those instincts defines us. The next morning, Jun visited the Federation Academy, where Lieutenant Han, now Admiral Han, oversaw the training of officers from all Federation species, including the first Krellinor cadets admitted to the program. In the main training hall, teams of mixed species worked through tactical scenarios. A young Krellinor cadet was partnered with a Federation officer, both being instructed by a human trainer. They're learning from each other, Admiral Han said as she joined Jun. The Krellinor bring aggression and decisive action. The Federation officers bring caution and ethical consideration. Together, they're better than either would be alone. Just as we planned, Jun replied. Han smiled. Did we plan this? I remember being terrified when we first arrived at Unity Station. We were aliens among aliens, seen as dangerous primitives. And now they send their children to learn from us, and we send ours to learn from them. Later that day, Jun attended a special ceremony at the Federation Science Institute. Dr. Su was presenting the results of a 5-year research project on evolutionary psychology across species. The audience included scientists from all Federation worlds and, remarkably, a delegation from the Krellinor Empire. Different evolutionary paths create different instincts, Dr. Su explained to the gathering. Species that evolved as prey develop different social structures than those who evolved as predators. But the most adaptable species, like humans, are those who experienced both roles and learned from each. After the presentation, Jun found himself face to face with Supreme Commander Koda of the Krellinor. The tall, imposing warrior regarded Jun with yellow eyes. "Your scientist speaks wisdom," Koda said in the harsh tones of his species. "The Krellinor evolved as apex predators on our world. We never learned to fear, only to conquer. And that shaped your society," Jun offered, "as your unique path shaped yours." Koda made the formal Krellinor gesture of respect, a closed fist pressed to the chest. "We underestimated humans. We saw the Federation as weak because they sought peace. Then you arrived, a species that understood both war and peace." That evening, Jun stood alone on the observation deck of Unity Station, watching the stars. A small Federation transport was departing, carrying the first joint scientific mission to include members from Earth, the Federation, and the Krellinor Empire. The ship's name was painted on its hull in multiple languages. Harmony. 5 years ago, the galaxy had seen humans only as dangerous primitives with an alarming capacity for violence. Now they understood the full truth, that the same evolutionary path that made humans deadly predators had also made them the galaxy's most dedicated protectors. The capacity for violence existed alongside the capacity for compassion. The ability to destroy walked hand in hand with the drive to create. And in teaching the galaxy this lesson, humanity had found its true place among the stars. The Federation Emergency Council room had never been so crowded. Representatives from 18 species packed the chamber, their voices blending into a nervous hum. At the center table sat Jun Park alongside Major Yu, Lieutenant Han, and Dr. Su, the human suddenly at the heart of the Federation's crisis. The Krellinor have launched simultaneous attacks across 3 sectors. Security Director Lenny reported, her feline features tense. "They've destroyed our outposts in the Vega system and have invaded the colony world of Proxima IV." The holographic display showed Federation ships retreating, outposts falling. The Krellinor, emboldened by the Federation's historically passive response, had launched all-out war. "Their main fleet is here." Major Yu pointed to a cluster of red markers approaching a densely populated Federation world. "They expect you to fall back and defend your core worlds." "Which is exactly what our defense protocols dictate," admitted Admiral Taro. Yu shook her head. "That's what makes it a trap. They'll draw your forces into defensive positions, then outflank them." Council Leader Mira turned to Jun. "What do you suggest, Commander Park?" "We need to change the rules," Jun said simply. "The Krellinor understand your patterns. We need to show them something they've never seen before." 3 days later, Jun stood on the bridge of the Federation flagship Guardian, as it led a joint Human Federation battle group toward the Proxima system. Federation officers worked alongside human tacticians at each station. The mood was tense but focused. "The Krellinor fleet has taken position around Proxima IV," reported Lieutenant Han from the tactical station. "They've established orbital defense platforms and landed ground forces." "Just as we expected," Yu said. She had been promoted to fleet commander for this mission, a position no human had held before. "They think we're coming to retake the planet directly." "Prepare Phase 1, Yu ordered. What followed shocked even the Federation officers who had approved the plan. Rather than approach Proxima IV directly, the fleet divided into 3 groups and attacked Krellinor supply lines, communication relays, and support vessels. They struck quickly, then disappeared before the main Krellinor forces could respond. "This is not how wars are fought in Federation space," Admiral Taro said quietly to June as they watched reports come in. "This is how humans have fought since ancient times," June explained. "We're smaller and physically weaker than many Earth predators, so we learned to use intelligence instead of brute force. You're treating the Krellinor like predators." "They are predators," June replied. "Their society values conquest above all else. They respect strength and exploit weakness." After a week of these tactics, the Krellinor commander sent a furious message to the Federation fleet. "Face us in honorable battle," demanded Supreme Commander Koda, his gray, ridged face filling the view screen. "Your cowardly strikes against support ships insult the art of war." Fleet Commander Yu stepped forward. "There is no honor in your attacks on civilian research stations. There is no art in slaughtering the defenseless. You will face us on our terms, not yours." The Krellinor had never encountered such resistance. Their strategy had always been simple: overwhelm with superior firepower, break the enemy's will to fight, and accept their surrender. But humans had millennia of experience fighting stronger opponents. "They're adapting their tactics," Lieutenant Han noted during the third week. The tactical display showed Krellinor ships moving in new formations, trying to counter the human-designed strategies. "Of course they are," Yu replied. "But they're still thinking like apex predators. They've never had to be cunning." The next phase of Yu's plan shocked even June. She proposed using Federation ships as bait, deliberately putting them at risk to draw the Krellinor into a trap. "Absolutely not," Admiral Taro protested during the strategy session. "We don't sacrifice our people." "No one will be sacrificed," Yu insisted. "The ships will be minimally crewed with volunteers. But the Krellinor must believe they've found our weakness." After heated debate, the plan was approved. 3 Federation vessels with skeleton crews approached Proxima IV, appearing to attempt a direct rescue of the colonists. When the Krellinor fleet moved to engage them, hidden Federation ships emerged from the planet's rings, a hiding place the Krellinor had never considered. The battle that followed was unlike anything in Federation history. Commander Yu coordinated strikes that targeted Krellinor command ships rather than their powerful but less strategic battleships. Human tactics emphasized disrupting enemy communications and creating confusion rather than destroying ships. "They're breaking formation," Lieutenant Han reported excitedly as the Krellinor ships began to move erratically. "Their command structure is collapsing." Within hours, the Krellinor fleet retreated from Proxima IV, leaving behind ground forces now cut off from supply and reinforcement. News of the victory spread quickly through Federation space. As June and the team returned to Unity Station, they found a different reception than before. Federation citizens lined the docking bays, watching the humans with a mixture of gratitude and unease. "They're grateful to us," Dr. Su observed, "but they're also afraid of what they've learned about us." "They should be," Major Yu said quietly. "Humans can be terrifying when we need to be." The Federation Council called an emergency session to discuss the changing nature of the conflict. June noticed that the human delegation was now seated among the primary council members, not in the observer section. "The Krellinor have withdrawn from Proxima IV, but are consolidating forces for a larger offensive," Security Director Lenny reported. "Our intelligence suggests they are bringing their entire fleet to bear." "Then we need to prepare a proportional response," said a Federation counselor. Commander Yu stood. "With respect, there is no proportional response to existential threat. The Krellinor mean to destroy the Federation, not negotiate with it." "What are you suggesting?" asked Council Leader Mira. "Earth is sending ships," June announced. "Our governments have agreed to full military support for the Federation." A murmur ran through the chamber. Until now, human involvement had been limited to advisors and small tactical teams. The arrival of Earth warships would change everything. 1 week later, June stood with Commander Yu as the first Earth Defense Force vessels docked at Unity Station. The ships were smaller than Federation vessels, but bristled with weapons systems and electronic warfare equipment. Their crews were veterans of Earth's peacekeeping forces, trained in combat in ways Federation officers couldn't imagine. "Everything changes now," you said, watching the Earthships arrive. The Krellinor thought they were fighting the peaceful Federation. Now they'll learn what it means to face humans. The final battle took place near a dying star that cast a red glow over the assembled fleets. The Krellinor had brought every ship they possessed, a massive armada that outnumbered the Federation 3-1. They expected to crush their enemies through overwhelming force. What they faced instead was human ingenuity at its most deadly. Earth ships executed maneuvers that Federation engineers had declared impossible. They used the dying star's radiation to mask their movements. They employed electronic warfare to confuse Krellinor targeting systems. And most shocking to the Krellinor, they used psychological tactics, broadcasting images of their previous defeats, targeting command ships to create fear and confusion, and using unpredictable attack patterns that made the Krellinor question their own tactics. "They're breaking," Lieutenant Han announced as the Krellinor fleet began to fragment. "Their command structure is collapsing." The battle ended not with the destruction of the Krellinor fleet, but with its surrender, an outcome no one had predicted. Supreme Commander Koda himself requested to speak with the human leaders who had engineered his defeat. As June prepared for the meeting that would begin peace negotiations, Dr. Su found him in his quarters. "The Federation is watching us closely now," she said. "They've seen what humans are capable of." "They've seen one aspect of what we're capable of," June corrected her. "Now we need to show them the other side. That the same species that fights so effectively can also forge a lasting peace." The galaxy had discovered why humans were so deadly. Soon, they would learn why that same capacity made humans the most determined architects of peace the stars had ever known.